It's been difficult over the last couple of months specifically to define the raison d'être of the Republican Party, the GOP. Why do they even exist as a party at this point? What's up? What's the purpose? Okay, because it used to be obvious. Johnny Million is with us today. Good morning, Johnny. How you doing?
Good morning. I can't wait to hear where you're going with this. What is their use?
Well, let's boil it down. Like there used to be for quite a while a soft nihilism of politics in America. It was fairly rampant for a very long time. That both parties were basically the same party. It was two legs in the same pair of pants. It really didn't. They're differentiating them. To get deep into it, it's the five fingers coming into a fish tank, looking like they are separate things, but above the water, if you really look, they're all part of the same evil hand reaching in to squeeze the goldfish, which I believe is I don't know where the analogy goes off the rails, somewhere around there. But the essence of the argument was, what's the difference? You know what I mean? They're the same. Now, never mind the fact that one party is built on the concept of republicanism, meaning that we are not a democracy, we are a republic. And therefore, the electoral college is king. That more important than the individual right to vote, Republicans believe that landowner grouping of voting and the ability to override the votes of the rabble who are uneducated, stupid, and dangerous and prone to awfulness and are too dumb to run their own lives.
Check.
Sure, yeah, right. The irony of who they're talking about, we'll get to that in a moment. And then, of course, Democrats, based on the idea that we are a democracy, that and the idea that one person, one vote, that your vote matters as much as anybody else's. The root essence of Democratic Party philosophy is that we are a democracy, and the division in America, the reason we fell into two parties, and the wigs dropped off because apparently once we stopped wearing wigs in court, their mission was accomplished, and they were actually the anti-wig party and the wiggity wig party. And once they had done their deed, they were done. They wouldn't need them anymore. But now the big fight that has continued on between the two biggest political philosophies in the country. That's why we have a two-party system, not one party with a bunch of variants, no pun intended, or two parties with all their kind of vagaries and or I guess posers, the variants within them that go, well, this is close to where I am, so I'll call myself that while perhaps harboring political philosophies that don't even align with the greater philosophy of the party. But that's a fight for another day as well. But essentially, we don't have two parties in this country. We have a great argument going on and having gone on essentially, for all practical purposes since the early 1900s, that we are either a democracy or a republic in function. Now, with the Voting Rights Act, with the ability for women to vote, with the ability for black people to vote, as those things got added, those added a check mark in the Democratic category. That codified.
That's how you want to think about it.
That's right. That codified legally the concept behind that was a verification of concept for the Democratic Party. Over time, that's what it resulted in, because that's and arguably a big X in the checklist of the Republican Party, that we are indeed not a republic. Every time a new group gets the right to vote and that vote is extended and protected, that's a check for Democrats and an X for Republicans. And this has been the continuing squeal across the political spectrum the last few decades, especially when it comes to Republicans. And Republicans now are they have, if you look at what they're doing, you could look at this as voter suppression, right? The whole thing they're trying to do, all these bills they're trying to pass, is voter suppression, as if it's something new and as if it doesn't align exactly with the essential, the mission statement of republicanism. Republicanism has never been pro-voting, nor will it ever be. All stuff that you were seeing Republicans do, as egregious as it is really just a return to initial concept. All it is a purification of republicanism in the modern era. And Democrats are doing an equal measure of purifying their concept as well, which is everybody gets to vote. Even if we don't like you, even if you're going to vote against us, because, as I've said many times, most of the bills that you're seeing that Republicans are passing will have as much detrimental effect on pardon the phrase, but as recovering white trash, I feel like I can say this, of white trash, that they will affect more people, poor rural whites, than they will affect people of color, because there are more rural white Trump supporters with all the issues that these bills increase or make more virulent. There are more of those folks than there are black people in the whole country, and I don't mean voting age. I don't mean active voting age. I don't mean the 60% of the 80% of the 30% of black people in the United States that can, will, and regularly do vote like every other group in the United States. That these, there are way more folks that are going to have ID issues and is this my precinct issues, and I just had to move because I'm broke and I'm living on my buddy's couch, and the election's coming up issues in in white folks in Arizona and Texas and Georgia and all these places than they are all the black people in the entire country, all the black voters combined, regardless of political affiliation. This includes the Candace Owens of the world. It's not even close. It's millions in difference.
Mm-hmm.
And Democrats at their root will always and must always, if they are indeed Democrats, fight for the right of everyone to vote, whether they're voting for Democrats or not. It has been, and the clarification of that messaging has always been an issue. And I think one that we've gotten further away from in the last decade, really. This is I would call most of the, besides the spiraling up caused by Russian and Iranian, North Korean, and Chinese interference in our social fabric by messing with us on social media and planting stories, puffing up the stories, creating Black Lives Matter, fake Black Lives Matter Facebook pages on both sides of an issue and intentionally making them fight, that kind of stuff. Besides all that, the fight that's been going on in our genuine politics has really been something that has spiraled since the panic of 9/11. And it could very well be that we are entering a time where COVID itself and the politicization of COVID, as dangerous as it has become, and as many Republicans as it is killing, we're going to talk about that today. That may be in its own way a reset or an opportunity for a reset of balance and conversation in our politics, a reality that we're all dealing with of the death toll from this, the sorrow, the pain caused across all these families, and that the politicization of all this stuff has literally caused people to die for nothing, for stubbornness, based on something that proving fealty to Donald Trump. There are millions of people in the United States who are avoiding getting vaccinated, not because they were anti-vax 6 years ago or 2 years ago, or even genuinely that way now, but because it is literally just an act of stubborn fealty to Donald John Trump.
Yep.
It is expanding to the point, and to where Missouri hospitals are getting overrun. There is clearly an issue, like California is now reinstituting its indoor mask mandate starting at midnight tonight, which has that's 100% dealing with people who are refusing to get vaccinated, not people who don't have access, not people who haven't had time. At this point, it's too available. It's everywhere.
Yeah.
Right now, the social fabric of Los Angeles City and county, and I guess it's the full county into the valley and all that stuff, is changing back to mask mandates because Trump fans that wander among everyone are stubbornly refusing to get vaccinated, and the people who have been vaccinated and have acted responsibly in the world are trying to keep them from dying, even though they were refusing to get vaccinated. Nancy in our chat room is asking, how do you think we will have another shutdown? I'll answer that after the break. We got to take a break. We'll be back right after this. You're listening to the Hal Sparks radio program, Mega Worldwide, on WCPT Radio, Chicago's Progressive Talk. WCPT820.com is the website. Of course, the show is available as a podcast as well as the Hal Sparks Radio podcast, Mega Worldwide, on the Sexy Liberal Network, sexyliberal.com. We'll be back right after this. If you haven't gotten vaccinated, why? At this point, we're getting.
That's it.
You're gonna get full FDA clearance for this. Apparently, you're cool with, I guess, the idea that most of the people around you have gotten it, and so you're counting on their herd immunity to protect you. Is that part of the, and then you'll just wait it out to see if there are any if any of us grow gills, which would be awesome. And it kind of would. It would make it hard to get a necklace off. Putting it on wouldn't be a problem. But if COVID gives me gills,
taking it back off would be weird. Yeah.
Yeah, taking the necklace off will be always you thought big earlobes could be a problem. This has expanded so much that some of you may have seen this story that the Republican Party in Tennessee has moved to remove all vaccine information from state health board websites and information, any pamphlets that they're putting out. They will, Tennessee will now be anti-vax as a standard. Now, have we forgotten just the history of smallpox, period? Have we now, is there some sort of magical idea that none of that ever happened, that the Spanish flu didn't happen, I guess, a year earlier than it actually did, according to Donald Trump? The Tennessee Republicans committed to advancing the most restrictive anti-abortion laws in the country, including a bill that forces the burial or cremation of surgically aborted fetuses. And they have stopped the state's vaccine outreach to minors as the Delta variant spreads across America, with all 50 states reporting an increase in COVID-19 cases. The Texas Department of Health succumbed to immense pressure from Republican state lawmakers to help infect as many people as possible. This is from the Daily Beast. Tennessee announced that it was halting all of its adolescent vaccine outreach, even as the rate of coronavirus in the infection state has tripled in the past 3 weeks. Not just COVID-19 vaccines, mind you, but for polio, hepatitis, rubella, and all vaccines. This level of, and again, we're talking about, the one-to-one, it's freedom, man. It's, that you one person will, it's your voice, it's your body, your voice. The irony of the fact that that the anti-abortionist crowd believes that, because no one, by the way, no one has ever caught an abortion by being sneezed on by someone who's had an abortion. Just for the record, just to clarify, abortions are not contagious. They aren't. You could argue that they're like a symptom of poverty, which can be contagious in certain areas. They can certainly be, if you, for example, Tennessee, I don't know, let a serial rapist run wild. Don't collect and test your rape kits because why bother? And don't listen to victims. Then you could have, I guess, a contagion of abortions caused by rapes. Of course, they would have to maybe go to other states they'll go over into Kentucky or another state to do it. But no, that abortions in general are not contagious, for the record. The measles is, and it can kill.
Yeah.
Smallpox is. I mean, polio, rubella, so this is, at a certain point, you have to step back from this and go, is the political party that brought us the Project for a New American Century, all the leaked documents of great worldwide purges of human beings that have come out that Alex Jones used to clamor about and now magically doesn't care. Is it that, that party, that group, has suddenly decided that they are just all in on this, on depopulation of their own, and they're going to start with their own? It is grotesque. And the fact that it is really only, we've been talking about voter suppression and whether or not Democrats will be able to vote. Will they have enough drop boxes? Will there be enough machines? Will they set up barriers to people voting in Democratic leaning areas? I have serious concerns about, will there be enough Republicans left alive in some areas to vote the way that county would genuinely want? Even if I disagree with what they would want, that's not how I want the voting statistics to go.
Right.
I would rather full turnout from both sides, a real debate about ideas, and each group gets, because I'm a Democrat, see how that works? I want them to be able to exercise their right to vote and present their best ideas. And if those best ideas win the day, then they get a shot at carrying them out. But right now, we have a Republican Party that seems hell-bent on killing their own voters. We thought the big lie was going to be one of the things that kept Trump's voters from coming out in 2022. And it is. But the truly sad part of this is that grief may be the reason why a lot of people don't vote in 2022 on the Republican side. Heartbreak. A complete, kind of emotional nihilism that rolls over the party and its people in certain areas because they've lost so many among them. And what a terrible way to win a political argument. I have no interest in it. And it's horrifying that these folks, and when they go to, there's been a rise in certain physical effects of the vaccine. Certain people that have been correlated, not caused. There's no test to show that these are caused. They're just correlating. Anything that goes bad statistically, anything that's higher statistically than it was before COVID, like this heart infection, which there's been one death, 177 cases. Over the course of the vaccine, millions of people, hundreds of millions of people, tens of millions of people have been vaccinated, and yet this 170 cases is going to be their reason, which, by the way, is correlated, not caused. There's no direct relation to it. This is a cautionary tale, as you have with any kind of new thing, and all of this could be caused by lockdown. All of these cases could be something that's extrapolated simply because people are going to the doctor more often. People are going, once you go in and you get your shot, you're going to see your doctor again. And he's going to go, don't forget, bring him in for a wellness checkup. So these teenagers who may have passed through this in any normal year, gotten this mild heart inflammation, and it went away, would have never noticed it. Many don't.
Yeah.
But because they've been to the doctor recently, they've been told about it, and because they just got vaccinated, because that's the reason they've seen their doctor recently, which is why their doctor said come in, can be correlated to it. And these people are jumping on it with both feet, where tens of millions of people have gotten a vaccine. 177 of these cases show up. One death, which is right in line with the normal number of deaths that would happen from this. And by the way, perhaps this draws attention to this heart inflammation as a thing, that perhaps we could find a Narcan kind of treatment for it. Perhaps, I don't know. Perhaps there's the medical establishment might want to. It's one of these orphan diseases. It's very small. Perhaps we would look into it. It might be good for, I don't know, kids. But the fact that they are jumping in with both feet. I mean, Rudy Giuliani did an entire show on his WABC show, and then one of his, Rudy's Common Sense shows on this, being the reason why you should probably not get the vaccine. Which, by the way, these are the same people who said statistically, you're probably not even, if you get COVID, you're not even going to get sick from it. Right? Statistically, why even worry about it? Matter of fact, why don't you have COVID parties? Why don't we just have measles parties? Why don't we just have small, chickenpox parties? Why don't we have monkeypox parties? That's right. During the break, we were talking about the fact that there's a case of monkeypox in Texas.
I might need to Google monkeypox.
No, you don't. You don't want to look at pictures of monkeypox, Johnny.
Really?
You don't want to.
They don't real monkeys?
No.
Okay.
No.
All right. Okay.
Yeah, no, you don't. We got to take a break. We'll be back right after this. 773-763-9278 is our number. We'll be back. It's the House Park Radio program, Mega Worldwide.